Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the class of recruitment and selection, first unit. So, we were talking about what is recruitment, what is the difference between recruitment and selection in the previous sessions, and we also tried to regain a little bit knowledge on what is job analysis and all. So, with the end note, we had actually discussed on methods of collecting data. So, there are different ways of collecting data. It can be observation method, it can be questionnaire method, that is survey method, it can be an interview method. These are some common ways wherein you collect data. Why this data is needed? Ultimately to analyze the job, right? So this job analysis, how it helps in various HR functions, we have already discussed. Just brush up and then we'll go ahead with it, right? In terms of recruitment, whenever you put an advertisement, you have to write down what qualifications are required for the job. Okay, so to determine that qualification requirement, you need job analysis. That is the main benefit you get by job analysis in the area of recruitment uh, function. Then coming to selection, whenever you are selecting a person, let us say there is a crowd of 100 people and you have to select only 2 people out of them. So on what basis you will select? So that basis is determined by job analysis. So it will tell you what are the job duties and specifications for the selection process. So based on, let us say the qualification is MBA graduate, MBA in HR, right? If the specification says so, the resumes which you receive from the candidates, if some of them are not MBA in HR, you can easily scrutinize them. You can remove out from the list. So this is where initial screening of the resumes, then coming to interviews and all, you can use the data which is generated by job analysis, because whenever you are asking questions in interviews, it will be related to the job itself. And if the interviewer does not understand the job properly, he will not be able to ask the related questions to the candidate. So that is why you need job analysis even in selection. Then you have to appraise a candidate, that is you have to measure the performance of the employees. And against what you are going to measure, there should be some criteria, no? So that performance criteria will be always determined by based on the job duties and responsibilities. So in description, in job description, whatever duties or roles and responsibilities you have, no, based on that only the performance criteria is being set for every employee. So, and using that criteria only, the performance of the employee is also being measured. Then in training and development, it will help you to identify the training needs and develop training programs so that those needs are being fulfilled. So that is why I told you this job analysis gives you three major things, that is job description, job specification, and job evaluation. So job description includes roles and responsibilities. So here, when you are determining the training needs, the roles and responsibilities are like a platform for you on which you will be identifying the training needs. Let us say like marketing executive should be very creative, okay, in terms of designing promotional tools, right? So the job responsibility says so, but he is not so creative in nature. So that time, what you do, you try to conduct some training programs or anything to make that person think out of the box, do some brainstorming, come out or develop new ideas for the company, something like that. So even in training and development, this job description is going to help you. Then in terms of fixing up compensation also, you need something called as job evaluation, which will tell you the worth of the job in the company. So based on that, employees pay is being fixed up. So these are various areas of HR where job analysis is really going to help us out. So now, what aspects of the job are being analyzed, right? So we are talking so much about job analysis, job analysis, job analysis, but what is actually being analyzed here in this job analysis, right? So in this, you first analyze what are the duties and tasks being associated with a job. Let us say there is a production engineer job. What are the duties of a production engineer? What are the tasks to be performed by the production engineer? That is what you are going to understand by doing job analysis. Then second thing, in under what environment the production engineer is supposed to work. Let us say a production engineer in a Toyota assembly line uh, environment is totally different from a production engineer who works in a mining area, because the environment is too harsh, the oxygen supply will be less, there will be a lot of dirt, asthmatic patients cannot work in such kind of environment. So for every job, there is a kind of environment which is defined, and that will help you to so if you understand that environment, it will be helpful for you to select the right candidate suitable for the job here. Then we have tools and equipments. Let us say like a computer operator job is there. If he is not given a computer himself, can he perform his task up to the mark? He cannot perform at all. So when a job is there, what tools and equipments are needed to perform that job should also be understood here. And that information also you will get from job analysis. Then relationships. Relationships talks about a particular job's relation with other jobs in the organization. So something like reporting pattern. So if there is a computer operator, who he is supposed to report to, or who works under him, who will be reporting to him. So this information also you will be analyzing in this job analysis. Okay, and last one is any other basic requirements for the job, that is your specifications. Okay, so what qualification, what skills, what competencies, what knowledge, what ability is required, all these things have to be analyzed here. So for every job, this information will be collected and it will be documented, because this acts like a basis for other HR functions also. Okay, so these are some areas where information is being collected through various methods of data collection. So we will discuss that a bit later. So what kind of information is collected? This duties and tasks, environment, tools and equipments required, relationship with other employees in the organization, and what are the requirements in terms of qualifications, skill and ability. So all this information is collected for the job analysis. So once this information is collected, you will be using statistical tools and techniques to analyze that data. So we will not touch that part now. But yes, when I was talking about collecting the information about these 5 areas, from whom you are going to collect that information. So that comes into picture here. So whenever a company goes for conducting, am I audible?
Ma'am.
Because I had some network issue in between, that is why I'm asking. Am I audible continuously?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So who is involved in this job analysis, right? So who are the people who come into picture of when you are conducting this job analysis? So we have management, we have supervisors, we have job analysts, we have job incumbents, we have trade unions, and we have consultants. So these are the people who come into picture when we are conducting job analysis. So what is the role of each of them in job analysis? I will explain it. The very first one is the management. The management is the one who takes up an initiative to conduct job analysis and define the jobs properly. So for that reason, you need management. The another task of management is, let us say, if this job analysis has to be done in the company for different jobs, there is no expert person in the company who can do this. That time, management has to use some outside consultancy firm to conduct this job analysis for the company. So that decision is also taken by the management. So that is their role. Second, supervisors. Sometimes in companies, if expertise is there, supervisors themselves can conduct this job analysis. That is first one. Second is, they can, let us say if some expert person is collecting information for job analysis, they can respond to the questionnaires. Okay, so I will come to that a little bit later. Then you'll be able to connect with what is the role of a supervisor more appropriately. So when you want to collect information regarding these 5 areas, there are various methods of collecting data. I have already told it: observation, interview, questionnaire method, and some other methods. Now, keep in mind in this survey method, that is questionnaire method. So there is a consultant. Let us say the consultants are there, outside consultants, who are conducting job analysis for the company. So when they are conducting job analysis for the company, they will be collecting information on the 5 areas. And how will they collect? They may use questionnaires. So that questionnaire is given to these people. Okay, the consultant will give that questionnaire to the supervisor, job incumbents, or unions where employees are working, okay, who are related to the job. So all these 3 people, the questionnaires are 3 categories of people, the questionnaires are given and the information is collected. The consultants have to be intelligent enough to understand these 3 people, because so whoever respondents they are selecting, they should be having thorough knowledge about the job. If it is a production engineer job, supervisor means head of production department. Job incumbent means production engineer himself. Trade unions means the people working in a manufacturing unit. Okay, so these three set of people, they know the job of production engineer very nicely. So from them only you can collect the information. You cannot go and give that questionnaire to the management. Management may not be knowing what is happening, what is being done in a production engineer's job, right? So you cannot use management here to collect information. Instead, you have to give that questionnaire to these 3 people, 3 categories of people, and collect information from them, right? So that is how these 3 people come into picture. Then supervisors, then coming to job analysts. Okay, so these job analysts are experts sometimes in the company themselves. Okay, so they are having a lot of experience, they are working in the company from a long time, and they are experts in terms of analyzing the job. So they are one more category who are involved in job analysis. Then fourth category is job incumbent, right? So for example, if you want to analyze a HR faculty job, right? I am a job incumbent here because I am already playing the role of a job in HR faculty role here, right? So the person who is playing the role already in that job position, we call him as a job incumbent. Let us say, I'll give one more example. If it is a production engineer, the person who is already working as a production engineer is called as a job incumbent. From them also, you can collect the data. The question may come up to the students, Madam, when all the jobs are already there in the company, then what is the use of conducting job analysis? My answer is, I had told it in the previous session also, job analysis is conducted for new jobs as well as the existing jobs. Okay, so if a new department is set up for the company, all the jobs are very new. Okay, so there you have to define the job description and specification for those jobs. That time you need job analysis. That is when new jobs are there. When jobs are already there, but the nature of the job has changed due to some company dynamics, right? So you have cut down the number of people. The pressure of work has been shifted to other employees in the organization. So there is some change going on in the company. So the nature of the job is also changing. There, for existing jobs also, you have to conduct job analysis so that you can get updated job description and specification. Okay, then that is job incumbent. Then this fifth category is your trade unions, right? So normally in manufacturing units, a monotonous job, people will be having knowledge about that particular job. Let us say a supervisor's job, right? So the people working under a supervisor, above a supervisor, both will be knowing what is the supervisor's job. and they can give you good answers on your questionnaires, right? So you can even approach the unions here to collect information about the job. Then the last category of people involved in this are consultants. If you don't have expertise in your own company to conduct the job analysis, you can contact HR consultants who can do this for you. They will come to your company, they will sign a MOU with the company, they will conduct the job analysis, a time frame, budget, everything is fixed for it. And the only thing what the management has to facilitate is to give information. The consultants will provide questionnaire to the people related to the job, collect the information, go back, analyze, and that data is shared with the management here, right? So the companies can use any of these categories to analyze the job here, right? So who are the one who are involved? So this is the answer you are supposed to give. Then there are various methods to collect data for job analysis. I have already told it. Observation method, it can be interview method, right? There is something called as SME groups. SME means not small, medium enterprises. SME here means subject matter expert groups, right? So they are experts in a particular area. They know the group of jobs very nicely. So those people sit together, discuss among themselves, have a group discussion, and then come to a conclusion. So that is a subject matter expert. Work diaries, I have already told it, the employees will be maintaining a work diary. So from that also you can get very good valuable information for your job analysis. Then the most simplest and less time consuming method is the questionnaire method. Okay, so most of the companies use questionnaire method and interview method, especially to analyze the job. Observation is very, very time consuming and very costly, and you need experts to conduct this observation method. It is very, very time consuming method. Okay, so for your syllabus, we are going to discuss these 5 techniques. There are more than 15 to 20 techniques, but we are restricting ourselves only to these 5 techniques as a matter for your even examination point of view. Okay, so various people or various HR researchers, they have come out with their own perspectives, their own ways of analyzing the job. So task analysis inventory is one such technique or an approach. Position analysis questionnaire, PAQ. It is also called as PAQ. Then Fleischmann job analysis survey. It is also called as FJAS, right? FJAS, FJAS. Then we have GEM, that is job element method, and CIT, that is critical incident technique. So if you just remember these codes, PAI, PAQ, FJAS, GEM, and CIT, right? So it is easy for you to remember the techniques. So for today's class, we are going to use one method, that is task inventory analysis inventory method, to analyze the job. So any doubts till now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, shall I go ahead?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so this task analysis inventory method is a method which actually analyzes the tasks in the job. So there is one job, and that under that job there are various tasks to be performed. Let us say an accountant's job. He has to maintain the ledger, he has to ensure that the entries are done correctly, he has to ensure that at every year this financial year end balance sheet is prepared, profit and loss account is prepared. So all these are tasks he is supposed to perform in his job. So this task analysis inventory will analyze the tasks being involved in the job. Okay, so the TAI primarily aims to identify the essential tasks of a job. So this task analysis inventory is basically a questionnaire. Okay, a questionnaire with around 100 or more tasks. Okay, so one more interesting part here is using this method, you can analyze one single job also, or one family also, job family also. So I hope you remember what is job family. Just to go back and recall, I'll show it for you. Yes. So financial job family. Okay. So these are sample jobs here. Staff accountant, project accountant, manager, accountant, senior budget officer, like this. All these belong to financial job family. So not only one single job, task analysis can help you to analyze a group of jobs also, which are related to each other. We call them as job family here. Right. So that is the one speciality of task analysis inventory, which you don't find in any other techniques. So there are more than 100 statements, I can say, in the questionnaire, and that questionnaire is given to the respondents. Okay, so the questionnaire is involving work behavior and the tasks. So this two information is included in the questionnaire: work behavior and the tasks, or nature of the task. So what is this work behavior and what is this task? We'll try to understand that. So the task inventory normally has three major categories of information. That is background information on the respondents, the job tasks and associated rating scales, and other miscellaneous information. Okay, so if you see here, there is an illustration of a police sergeant. Okay, so work behavior of a police sergeant here is to respond to the life-threatening emergencies or critical incidents. So this is the work behavior. What are the various tasks associated? The other tasks associated are he has to provide assistance to other agencies like state police and local police. So if there is any, in case of fire or anything, he has to put effort to extinguish the small fires. Request additional assistance from other personal agencies. Sometimes any accident or anything is there, he has to notify to the hospitals. So these are small tasks associated for the job of a police sergeant. So these are the things which you are going to analyze here. Okay, so what are the sequential steps you actually follow to conduct this task analysis inventory? So the process goes like this, but before that I will just give you a small hint on what kind of background information is being collected on respondents. When we are talking about a questionnaire, the background information about the respondents can be name, gender, ethnicity, tenure of the job, then job location, title of the job in which he is working in. So these are some things which are asked from the respondents. The second set of questions are related to the job tasks, and there are certain rating scales for them. So questions related to maybe what kind of activities every day you're doing in the company, right? Then what will be your responsibilities? Then what are the minute critical incidents which you come across when you are working in that job? So all these things are identified. So that also is being put up in the questionnaire here. And the other miscellaneous this information like specifications and all, qualifications and all required to perform the job. So questionnaires are based upon these three category of information. So now, how to administer this task analysis inventory? So we will look into that. The very first step is identifying the job tasks and work behaviors. Guys, until and unless you don't know the job tasks and work behaviors, you will never be able to conduct a task analysis inventory. Okay, so you have to first prepare a list of what are the job tasks and work behaviors. I have given an example of work behavior and a job task. Okay, so like this, for every job you have to identify the job tasks and behaviors. Then see, when you are analyzing the job and you are asking the respondents to give information, they will be giving n number of list, that is huge number of job tasks and work behaviors. Minutest also they will be giving you the list. So you cannot involve all those points in your questionnaire. It becomes a very big questionnaire for you, right? So instead what you do is you rate the important job tasks and work behaviors. Okay, so you rate them which are important, and once you rate them which are important, then only you will be able to include them in the questionnaire. So here, that is one rating. Second rating, what you are going to fix up is the scales. Okay, so scales in terms of, just a minute. Yeah, scales in terms of how much that task is being performed and how much it is important for the newly hired employees in the company. So two scales are used here. One is frequency of performance, and second one is importance of newly hired employees, right? Importance for newly hired employees. So these two things, it is the rating goes with 1 to 5 rating, which tells about frequency of performance means in that job that task is not at all performed, or seldomly performed, or occasionally performed, frequently performed, almost every time you perform the same tasks, right? So in that case, you will fix up a frequency of performance for the job tasks and work behaviors. So the other rating is not so much important for you, that is importance for the newly hired employees. So don't worry about that now. So based on, let us say, to take an example here itself, for work behavior, okay, I will be taking one scale here. What is that? So what is the, I'll take a task here instead of a work behavior. He is supposed to notify to the hospitals, the last one. Okay, so this is the task. So for this task, how much the sergeant, the police sergeant, is investing the time. Okay, so whether he is not at all performing it, whether he never informs the hospital in terms of accidents or anything, he never comes across such kind of problems, or sometimes, that is seldom, okay, very rarely, sometimes he may face this problem where he has to notify the hospitals regarding the accidents. Occasionally this comes up, right? This situation comes up very oftenly. Then frequently, every now and then, this problem will always be there, and the police sergeant is supposed to notify the hospitals. And last one is almost all the time he is supposed to do it. So like this, a scaling is fixed up for every statement and the questionnaire is being prepared, right? So this only police sergeant, we have identified 4 tasks. Like this, there may be 60, 100 tasks also. Okay, so for every task, how much that task is being performed. Okay, so that scaling is being fixed up. So once that scaling is being fixed up, then you will go ahead with administering the questionnaire here. Okay, so that was about rating. First thing is identify the job tasks and behaviors. Second thing is rate based on the importance of the job tasks and behavior. Third is fix up a rating scale for them. Okay, so fix up a rating scale for them. And once you fix up the rating scale for them, now is the time where you specify the knowledge, skill, and ability required for the successful job performance. So here they are supposed to define what knowledge, skill, and abilities are required to perform that particular job. So you have to write down questions regarding knowledge, skill, and abilities. You have to define those knowledge, skills, and abilities. The respondents will just put a tick mark which knowledge, which skill, which ability is needed to perform the job. So specify the knowledge, skill, and abilities necessary for the successful job performance. Then rate the importance of the identified KSA. right? So in the same way which you did for the second step, no, the same way you are supposed to do it for the knowledge, skill and abilities. So here also you will be identifying the importance of that knowledge, skill and ability for the job. See, for example, coordination. Is it really very important in companies nowadays? Yes, very, very important. So coordination is a kind of a ability of a person, I can say, which will help him to work with other team members, right? So how much important that particular ability is. So that you are supposed to rate here, fix up a rating scale here. So you can do it here in the textbook. It has been defined from the Likert scale of 1 to 7 rating. Okay, so you can even include 1 to 5 rating also. How much based on too much important, not important, very important, average, right? You can fix up your own rating scale and decide upon what knowledge, skill, and abilities are needed for the job. Then after that, identify other employee specifications necessary for the successful job performance. Other than knowledge, skill and abilities, what are the specifications required? Here comes into picture the qualifications of the job. Okay, so here we have only identified knowledge, skill, ability, no qualification here. But in the next stage, other specifications, that is what qualification is required, what experience is required, that you are supposed to identify here. So once you are able to identify this, now you can link the knowledge, skill and abilities with the employee specifications to the job tasks and behaviors. So all these three, I can say, so all, yes. So one, then, sorry, two, and then three, 4. Okay, all these are linked with each other here. So knowledge, skill and abilities are linked with the other employee specifications, and both of them are matched with the job tasks and work behaviors here. So once you are able to link them with the relationship, ultimately you can go ahead with the job analysis. Just a minute. Right? So once you are able to link this information, then you can develop the content for selection processes. Okay, so you know what are the job tasks and work behaviors performed. You know what are the knowledge, skill and abilities needed to perform the job. And you also know what are the other employee specifications to complete that job. Keeping these three informations, you can design selection process for the particular job here, or a group of family, a family of jobs here, right? So that selection process will include aptitude test, group discussion test, or there's the interview tests, right? So there is hardly 1 minute left. Kindly rejoin with the same code, okay, all of you.